Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today I have another breakup story to share with you. And if you have a breakup story you would like to share and get my take on, please send it in to writemac.com. If you'd like to take it a step further, book a live coaching session. We can take some inventory of your situation moving forward. So, in this particular video or story, this starts out with a long-distance relationship, and they met online. And this is going to be a very common theme in the future and in 21st century because we meet so many people online. And I don't think that's a problem, but long-distance relationships, I always say, have a shelf life. And at some point, someone needs to move where the other person's moving to. They need to be seeing each other regularly, if that's once a month, once every 6 weeks, which actually creates a lot of fun and lead up to the meetup, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is that, if you're meeting once a month, it should be a special time. You should be getting along really well. It should be rose petals and wine glasses. It should be, a lot of fun. And if it's not, then that's a red flag in the long distance relationship. But the relationship, if it's long distance, should always have, okay, in 6 months, I'm going to move to your city, there should be some plans to where you're getting to a point where you're living together or near each other, because it just simply won't last if it's a flight away, or you're on different time wavelengths and you're doing FaceTime all the time. Is there exceptions to the rule? Sure, but I would say 70 to 80% of the time you got a shelf life. At some point, someone's going to get sick of the lack of human interaction. So, in reading this story, please let me know if you like my take or you don't like my take, and if you like the channel, please subscribe. So let's get right into it. Hello, my story starts out in a long-distance relationship. I met this girl. I was 22. She was 18. Online eventually led into a relationship of long distance. So you met each other. She already had a long-distance boyfriend when I expressed my feelings for her. So after a month or so, she dumped him to get into a relationship with me. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not the moral police, but that does say something about her character. And if she was in a long distance relationship with someone else, that tells you that she's open to talking to other people, because at the end of the day, how someone treats someone else is eventually how they're going to treat you in a lot of cases. How you do one thing is how you do everything. I think that's a 90% true statement, and you really have to take inventory when someone does something to someone else. And like I said, I don't know her relationship with this other guy, and it was long distance already, but the idea that she could dump him to get into a relationship with you, that opens the door for the same thing happening to you eventually. You know that, I hope. This, of course, triggered a lot of jealousy and possessiveness in me. Well, that could trigger that, obviously, but you probably already had a bit of jealousy in you already, to which I barely could keep control of. You never want to start a relationship, let alone a long-distance relationship, with possessiveness and jealousy, because it's really going to drive you nuts not being in her presence and trying to figure out what she's doing, when she's doing it, and how she's doing it, and if she's talking to someone else, because it takes a lot more trust to be in a long-distance relationship. And the way this one's starting, it doesn't sound good. We dated for almost 11 months. During those months, I flew and met her, and we had a wonderful time and many dates. So you had to fly, so it was quite far, the distance. After I came back to Europe for my education as a doctor, I had to start, so I was really busy. So you have start my education as a doctor. That's something that's going to take a lot of your time and effort, being in medical school. And so I'm assuming that comes before the relationship. And it's a difficult time. I've actually talked to other people that were med students, and a lot of times they're in a relationship, and once they end medical school and they get their job, they're stationed to a new city or a new place. And a lot of times they break up because they're in a new paradigm shift. So just keep that in your back pocket. My education, had to start, so I was really busy. And that's going to come first, right? We usually talked a lot on the phone, but slowly she started being more distant. Well, you probably were a little bit more distant too if you were going to med school and you had your mind on that. She loves hanging around and voice chats and talking to gamer guys. Okay, he wrote low self-esteem guys who show her that show her attention. Well, bottom line is she likes to talk to people online, and that's how you guys met. And you going out of your way to say these are low self-esteem people, you're judging people you don't know. That's not a good place to be, and it puts you in a negative state, really. I know you're in med school, you're a high-confidence individual, and it's impressive. But going around and maybe saying all these other guys she talks to are low self-esteem guys, you don't really know that's not going to really serve you. So, you know, if you have a problem with her talking to other groups online, that's a separate issue. Putting them down based on that, I don't know if that's going to serve you long term. And she started hanging around in those places more and more and neglecting me more and more, which made me sad since she doesn't really have any ambitions. Well, there you go. Dun, dun, dun. So, again, in my experience as a breakup coach and having over 400 stories right now come in, and coming across a few people that are going for their PhDs, a few people going to med school. It is an ambitious thing to be in med school. It's a prestigious thing, and a lot of times it's something you measure yourself by, and being around other people that don't have quite as high ambitions can upset you, and in some cases have you look down upon other individuals. And in that case, if you're feeling like, well, you know, she's talking to low self-esteem individuals and she has low ambitions, this is not going to be a person you want to have a long-term relationship, because you're not going to necessarily change that in her. She needs to find that in herself. She does not want to have it. She does not want a job nor a career. Well, if you're going to med school, that's probably not going to mesh well with you long term. You got to be honest about that. She broke up with me after our last fight this November, and during this month, she contacted me because I had removed her from Instagram. To that, I responded that I removed her because she broke up with me and that I'd love to work things out and she could contact me if she changed her mind. Okay. Of course, her response to that was that we should meet new people, and she hopes that I can find a better girl, and gave me life advice as a finisher. So you're getting life advice from someone that you don't respect, that you look at as not ambitious and doesn't have a career in front of them. So I bet that went over really well. You know, bottom line is, though, we have buckets in life. So your professional career life, you're doing really well with that. You should be proud that you're going to school to be a doctor. I think that's great. The fact that she thinks that you could use advice in finding a better girl, maybe she's giving you advice in a different field. She knows you somewhat, so it might do you well just to listen and maybe get a tidbit out of it. I, of course, made it clear that I don't want to be her friend, and that I love her and I'd love to work it out between us. That I had faith that we could make it work, we could put our minds to it, and that she could contact me if she changed her mind. You've already said twice that if she changed her mind. Don't be saying that again and again. Her response was that was double M. There's too much in one go, so I can really decipher this on my. There's too much in one go, so I can't really decipher this on my own. Do I still have a chance in this? Do you want a chance? I don't know. The way I'm reading this and the direction you're going in, you're in a long-distance relationship. You don't trust her. You get highly jealous. You're putting her down a bit. The fact that she talks to guys on gaming sites, which doesn't really mesh well with the fact that you're going to school to be a doctor and you're quite proud of that. And the idea that she gave you life advice at the end, you didn't like that too much. So what are you chasing here? I don't know if this is a good relationship long term. You're not going to change this individual. I would give yourself some space and time, stay in no contact, and after 4 to 6 weeks, just see where you stand and see where you feel, and allow yourself to start seeing some other women that live closer to you and maybe share some of the more ideals that you do, and possibly you'll meet someone in med school that, you know, lines up better with who you are and where you're headed. Because this problem of who she is and where she's headed, and the idea that she's not very ambitious, is going to bug the hell out of you and be a problem long term. And I think you know that. If you want to unpack this further, I'd suggest a live coaching session, and we can pick at it and go through it, because it's very important right now for you to get through this in a good place, because it's going to affect you in med school, and it's going to affect your next relationship moving forward. So I hope that helps you. Please visit writemac.com if you got a story to tell, or if you'd like to book a live coaching session. Thank you for supporting the channel.